In terms of myself, I am Kofi Mao-Leclue, originally from Ghana in West Africa, and I've been living in this country as a political refugee since 1990. And within that period of time, I have been involved in community organizing and put my professional education and training in law into use as a community advocate. And that has actually enabled me to do what I like doing best, which is as a Pan-African community advocate for global justice. Well, yeah, so within this period of time, I have involved myself in African heritage community activism, trying to participate in self-education and self-organizational work within the African heritage community, particularly starting with those of us who came as refugees and then into the wider migrant community, and then, trying to also develop relationships with all other communities. As a Pan-African internationalist, I'm very conscious of the fact that our objectives cannot be attained without linking up with all communities and overcoming the barriers that have kept us, apart. And that journey has taken me from participation in Pan-African community organizing to, engaging in global justice issues around international debt, around climate change, around international solidarity, and that is why the work of Extinction Rebellion is attractive, because it connects into the work that we've been doing through what we call the Stop the Mangamizi with Child Genocide Ecocide campaign, which is really to raise awareness about the fact that what is happening to Africa and African people is not just, simple tragedies and accidents. It is actually systematic genocide and ecocide. And that eventually it will endanger the life of the entire humanity and also of the planet itself. So having met now the Extinction Rebellion, I think we're coming full circle.
So why are you here today in Parliament Square?
I'm here precisely to participate in the Day of Rebellion as part of building the Extinction Rebellion movement. This is the greatest urgent issue of our time. And I'm glad that what we started from the Stop the Mangamizi with Child Genocide Ecocide campaign, looking at this issue from a Pan-African perspective, has now led us to the point where with Extinction Rebellion, we can work with people from a wider diversity of communities to address the issue of ecocide as a global justice issue that matters most to all of us. And we really have to wake up to the fact that, governments and those who have organized the world in this particular way, and in that way have disempowered the overwhelming majority of humanity, are not interested in resolving this issue in favor of life on the planet. They will keep on pursuing their greedy, predatory interests until the entire planet collapses. And then, thanks to Extinction Rebellion, this awareness is now dawning on a wider number of people, which points us in the direction of what the real solution is, which is people recognizing that they are the actual power, the power within individuals, but also the greater power when we collectivize our efforts and we work together, connecting the local to the global, and we can generate a global power that can effectively, by working from below and connecting our communities of resistance from the grassroots upwards, we are capable of stopping this murder of humanity and the entire planet. It is in our hands, and that is the significance of today. The significance of people who realize that the parliament behind us, 10 Downing Street over there, the Supreme Court over here, they are incapable. They have no interest in resolving this issue. They'll keep pussyfooting about it, one step backward, one step forward, 3 backwards, with all kinds of excuses, and we are just collateral damage for them. The rest of humanity is just collateral damage for them in pursuit of their greedy adventures across the world, with the threat of taking this even, into space, right? So this is the time for us to come together, work together, be in dialogue, and learn about each other, and challenge them with the truth that we educate ourselves on, with the actions that they cannot control, and justified in the fact that we are rebelling for life. I think that there must be the realization that we have the greatest weapon to use to achieve victory. And that greatest weapon is the peaceful weaponization of truth. This madness has gone on because they have succeeded in lying to us. The whole process of governance in most parts of the world today, in fact, you can say virtually all of it, is just a few lying unashamedly, greedily, violently to the vast majority of humanity, and then putting us against each other with these lies so that we cannot recognize our common humanity and we cannot come together globally to challenge their power built on lies and the establishment that is really a sandcastle if confronted with our weapon of truth. So the real thing we need to do is to spend time with each other, ground with each other, share knowledge, and in that, pursue truth. It's a truth quest, so that we are able to cut through all of their lies. We are able to discover the bits and pieces of the truth that we all have, piece it all together into a whole truth. And once we have that whole truth and we stand behind it, the whole system of deceitful misuse and abuse of power against the entire planet collapses. So I would say for the way forward is how we talk to each other, we share things with each other, we connect across borders, because what confronts humanity cannot be restricted to and solved within just one border. It is all of us coming together, and that is why I'm so glad that our community organizations in Africa are coming to this realization that they now have allies in these parts of the world to connect to the resistance they are waging against extraction of their natural resources virtually for nothing, leaving them with only pollution and disease and rendering water bodies completely unusable, poison atmosphere. This resistance has its perils here in the global north. So our resistance in the global south has its perils that we can now put human faces of activists in the global north together with the human faces of activists in the global south, that we can build bonds of friendship, we can rebuild family, and that we come together as a human family of resistance in Extinction Rebellion to challenge with the power of the many, the power of the few. And once we are able to work this out, victory becomes easier to achieve, because we make it impossible for us to be bamboozled with lies, that because we have the weapon of truth, we all know how to use that weapon effectively. We keep sharpening it in our dialogue with each other. We are able to bring the might of our numbers that cannot be divided through these games of divide and misrule, and we are able to harness this force globally, and then having now developed trust amongst ourselves in the trenches of resistance, we can take back this planet, and we can reorder it in a way where once again we live in harmony with everything else that exists on this planet. And that is the only way forward for humanity. Now, for me, what is important in all of this, what has been most important in my life, is the recognition that if we are able to pull together the world that we can build, it's immensely beautiful and has everything for everybody. There will be no want, because we would have overcome greed, would have overcome enmity. We would have cultivated the spirit of sharing, the institutions that share. We are not competing, with each other. We are emulating the best that each and everyone, as an individual and in our various groups and communities, can offer the world, can offer humanity. And that will be the most beautiful world. So for me, we have to speed up this rebellion. We have to expand this rebellion in order to put the disorder of this world behind us, so that we can take humanity to where really we ought to be. That beautiful world where we can now work together in cooperation, to make life meaningful to each and every human being. And the sadness of the current situation is we have a few people denying all of us the opportunity to do so, denying all of us. Can you imagine if each and every human being in this world is given the opportunity to realize their humanity to the full? What can't we offer each other? What can't we offer this world? What legacy will live, for generations to come, that would say, look at what human beings are able to do. With all this division, with all this criminality going on, with all these wars against each other, still look at what is being achieved. But look at what human beings, human hands, human brains are able to create. Is being used for destructive purposes. It's being used to extract and violate Mother Earth. It's being used for us, against each other. But what about if in unity we turn all of that to beautifying each other, to beautifying the planet? You know, what a world that would be. And I think the greatest crime against all of us is that one of people holding us back from moving humanity to that stage where we are able to work as one human family for the betterment of us individually and as a global community. For me, it is that vision that must drive us to let nothing stop this rebellion. Because that vision out there, that world that we can build, when we win this rebellion, will be a world that many have dreamed of in the past, many have sacrificed for, many have been prepared to even pay the supreme sacrifice for, and then we will be able to tell those people who've paid for it with their lives that this is what your sacrifices have given all of us. And I think that let us keep our eyes on that prize. That is the price of being able to rebel and being able to win this Extinction Rebellion. And nothing can surpass that.